The bystander effect is a phenomenon in which a person is less likely to help someone in need when other people are less present. The bigger the group of bystanders, the less likely one is bound to help the person.
Our experiment to test this was by having our friend Andrew Moeller pretend to cry and see if anyone would care enough to stop and see if they would help. We had Daniel as the cameraman, and Bridget and I traded off with Brooklyn and Zach by interviewing them and seeing who stopped and why they stopped.
We decided the best way to test this would be in a semi-high traffic place, and we chose downtown Walla Walla for this at 10 a.m. The first weekend we tested this was Mother's Day weekend, and the next was just a normal day downtown.
So as you already heard, our experiment was to have two actors, both a male and a female, pretend to be sad or depressed. So we went to East Main Street in downtown Walla Walla, and we set everything up. We had a couple people there to act as kind of security to make sure everybody was safe and sound. I was the actor, so I sat on the bench across from where the cameraman was set up, and our goal was to make it 10 to 15 minutes. That was our goal. That was the max we were going to be out there. For me, it took about 10 minutes until somebody finally approached, and so, other people saw that there were other people passed by me later and just looked and didn't really stop by. But then again, this was on Mother's Day weekend, so it was a high traffic area. It was lots of people downtown. So yeah.
For the second part, we had a female participant named Emily, and we put her in the exact same position, same exact place as Andrew. And the only difference was it wasn't Mother's Day weekend, so there's a lot less foot traffic. And this could be the cause that it took 5 minutes more. It took the full 15 minutes for Emily to be noticed by somebody. And yeah, is that it?
And the person that noticed Emily was somebody that just happened to be driving by. So it wasn't even somebody who was walking by. She just happened to notice Emily out of the corner of her eye while her and her husband were driving by, and they found a place to park and stopped.
so as you saw for Andrew's, it took about 10 minutes. The people that stopped by were really nice. We did some follow-up questions with them, kind of asked them what brought them to Andrew, kind of, you know, why they did that, and they saw other people who didn't, but they still went for it. It seemed to be like a mother-son combo. The son was a black belt, so he, you know, takes upon himself as part of his position to really make sure the community is happy and healthy. So that was, you know, they were just really nice, really genuine people, honestly. They were really, really sweet. And yeah, that's kind of it for people.
For phase 2, so the scenario with the female actress, we actually had the only person that stopped, because it took about the full 15 minutes, we were actually about to call it off, and then an older lady was driving past the scene, and she had her husband and her stop the car. She parked, she got out, and then she went to talk to the subject. So for us, that was really interesting, because not only did she take the time to stop her car and like go out of her way, because she was headed out of the area to stop and help this girl, but she actually stayed there for a long time and talked to her, and eventually we did catch up with her after and asked her, you know, what made her stop. And she said that, you know, whenever she sees someone that looks like they're hurting or sad, that she feels it's like she has to encourage them. So for her, it was more of an encouraging thing. She wanted to see, hey, what's going on? How can I encourage this individual? So that was really impressive to us. We actually chatted with her for quite a bit. And yeah, so both scenarios only had, you know, one person stop for each one. In that case, it was a couple, 2 people, and then for us, it was just a single person. But it was really interesting that the female, it took longer for someone to stop for the female actress than the male, because our original hypothesis was the opposite, actually.
Right, we thought it would be a fast response for the female depression. I know that if the female was, your person who stopped by was encouraging, ours was comforting. And I don't know if that's a difference between in kind of the way the actors played that, or just different people's and how they kind of interpreted that kind of distress. And then foot traffic as well. You can see a lot of people stopped and stared at Andrew, but kind of just kept walking because they weren't really sure what to do then. And then you had the couple that came over and just really wanted to make sure everybody was okay.
Yeah, so overall we thought it was a successful experiment. Of course, we do recognize that there were some things that made the results probably slightly skewed or biased. You know, in which case one was on Mother's Day, the other was a week later, so weather also played a different role. It was really hot one day, pretty cold the other day, but overall we did see the effects of the bystander effect in real life, and so it was really interesting and very successful.